The MMA world has been spinning with rumors, jaw-dropping social media feuds, and last-minute fight bookings that even the most seasoned fans never saw coming. One minute, an unexpected rivalry lights up social media, and the next, an MMA legend becomes the subject of viral memes. Today we're diving into everything you need to know, from Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett finally going head-to-head, to an odd clip of Daniel Cormier getting single-legged by a dwarf, to Bryce Mitchell landing himself in scorching hot water. But that's not all. We've got fresh signings shaking up entire divisions, rumored locations leaking, and the most relentless callouts you'll hear this year. This video is your one-stop shop for the boldest controversies and biggest matchups that have just erupted in the MMA stratosphere. If you thought the last few weeks were chaotic, buckle up, because every story we're about to explore could change someone's legacy, rewrite a division's hierarchy, or leave fans replaying a certain clip over and over again, just for the shock value. Let's break it all down, piece by piece, starting with a fight that has the entire lightweight division on notice. For months, fans have been dreaming of a clash between Michael Chandler's explosive power and Paddy Pimblett's swagger. It's officially happening at UFC 314. To some, it feels like a collision of unstoppable hype trains. Chandler has made it clear he sees himself on an entirely different level than the baddie, and he's not shy about blasting that message across Instagram. He posted a playful clip of himself throwing punches in a blonde wig, an obvious nod to Paddy's signature look, and hammered home the tagline, "See you at the top." Naturally, Pimblett fired back on social media, playing along with the gag, yet making sure fans know he's not intimidated. The Scouser's response was almost brotherly, calling Chandler lad, but the subtext was anything but friendly. Both men are setting the stage for a showdown in Miami that many predict will be a surefire contender for fight of the night, possibly even fight of the year. Yet it's Chandler's confidence that has tongues wagging. He says Paddy won't be able to handle his speed or punching power, something Pimblett hasn't faced yet in the UFC. According to Chandler, once the first exchange connects, Paddy will realize this isn't Bobby Green or Tony Ferguson. Whether you call it hype or truth, the story is the same. Two alpha personalities, one locked cage, and the entire MMA world tuning in to see who walks away with bragging rights. But as the online banter rages, the MMA community found a bizarre new viral moment, and it involves none other than Daniel Cormier.
That's Conor McGregor.
Of course, man. I mean, I think at this point, Conor McGregor stepping back in the octagon does big numbers no matter what. But he and I step inside the octagon, we do staggering numbers.
It's not every day you see a two-time UFC champion get single-legged by a dwarf, but that's exactly the footage that surfaced recently, and the internet did what it does best, exploded with reactions. Daniel Cormier, a wrestling savant, is known for his comedic presence behind the commentary desk, but no one expected to see him taken down in such a unique fashion. Fans flooded social media with memes, witty one-liners, and a sense of awe. How does one of the greatest wrestlers in MMA history end up in such a predicament? In fairness, DC seemed to be in good spirits about it. Most likely it was all in fun, but that didn't stop the clip from spreading like wildfire. Maybe it shows that even the best can have a moment that leaves them wide-eyed and off balance, even if that moment is orchestrated for laughs. But while Daniel Cormier's legendary takedown defense took a playful hit, another fighter is making it crystal clear that he's coming to the UFC to take no prisoners. Patricio Pitbull has long been regarded as one of the best fighters outside the UFC. Now he's stepping into the biggest cage of them all, and he's not tiptoeing around it. The moment Dana White announced the signing and mentioned Pitbull's upcoming fight against Yair Rodriguez, Pitbull let loose. He accused certain featherweights of ducking him, calling them expletives, and claiming they should be ready to fight anytime, any place. Why the intensity? Pitbull says there were top contenders who suddenly went radio silent when the UFC offered them a chance to face him. He wants to stake his claim by demolishing the first big-name opponent who dares to face him. If the rumors are true, he's aiming at Rodriguez, and he's coming in hot. For those who followed his journey outside the UFC, Pitbull's dominance is no secret. His explosive striking and lethal ground game have carried him to big wins and multiple championship belts. Now he's eager to shake up a featherweight division that's brimming with talent, and if his words are any indication, he's not just here to participate, he's here to scalp the division. While Pitbull's arrival sends shockwaves through the featherweight ranks, Dana White and the UFC continue dropping bombshell announcements that set social media ablaze.
Que eu entro agora num card como esse, né? A divisão tendo o título vago e me colocando na disputa contra ele, Rodrigues, eu me sinto.
I'm feeling great, and to have such an opportunity to be fighting in the same card where there's a title fight, and I'm making my debut against Ilia Rodriguez. So I'm very confident with my start in this organization.
The matchmaking machine has been working overtime, and the results are staggering. At UFC 314 alone, Dan Ige will square off against Sean Woodson, while Jeff Neal takes on Carlos Prats. Ige aims to snap his recent losing skid and prove he's still the same wrecking ball who once soared up the ranks. Sean Woodson, on the other hand, is on a hot streak, and a win over Ige could catapult him into bigger fights. Jeff Neal's clash with Carlos Prates is another barn burner. Neal recently bested Rafael dos Anjos in a grueling match, showcasing his resilience and precise striking. Meanwhile, Prates has been quietly racking up consecutive wins, aiming to break into the welterweight top 10. Don't forget about the UFC Kansas City event scheduled for late April. After announcing his retirement, Matt Schnell has decided to lace up the gloves one more time, this time against Jimmy Flick. Schnell has always been a fan favorite for his all-action style, and Flick is no slouch on the ground. Expect a scramble-heavy affair that could end in a blink. Then there's the rumored UFC Iowa main event featuring Corey Sandhagen versus Davison Figueiredo. Sandhagen's highlight reel knockouts and Figueiredo's monstrous power promise a war. Fans have been buzzing about how Figueiredo's skill set will translate to a higher weight class. Last but not least, Joel Alvarez and Benoit Saint-Denis could throw down at UFC 315. Alvarez is on a tear, finishing foes left and right, while BSD aims to snap a losing skid. If these fights hold together, the next few months will be absolutely packed with high-stakes matchups. With so many official bouts lined up, you'd think the drama would simmer down, yet Conor McGregor proved otherwise with a lightning-fast social media roast. In typical McGregor fashion, the Irish superstar fired off a cutting remark at Bilal Muhammad, then swiftly deleted it. The tweet was triggered by footage Muhammad posted of his boxing drills. McGregor dismissed the training as abysmal, with a dash of trademark Conor flair. This isn't the first time these two have sparred verbally. Muhammad once poked fun at McGregor's inactivity and pointed out the brutality of the welterweight division. Meanwhile, McGregor often treats social media like an open mic night, dropping barbs at whoever draws his attention. Still, the champ, yes, Bilal currently holds the welterweight crown, shrugs off the criticism. He's been steadily improving his stand-up game, bolstered by training with elite strikers like Yair Rodriguez and Ignacio Bahamondes. Most fans sense that McGregor's insults are partly promotional theatrics, but there's no denying that every mention by the Notorious can stir the pot. The big question remains, when will McGregor actually return to the octagon, if ever? As fans continue to speculate, Muhammad marches forward, preparing for a title defense against Jack Della Maddalena. For now, the tension simmers on social media, but if these two ever cross paths in a press conference or inside the cage, expect the fireworks to be off the charts. While Twitter barbs can feel like a guilty pleasure, there's an even darker controversy brewing around Bryce Mitchell and his outspoken behavior outside the cage.
I think they just underestimate my hands and my striking, and I just went against the best striker in the UFC, and Leon Edwards, so-called. I train with the best striker in the UFC, and Ignacio Bahamondes. I train with Yair Rodriguez. Both these guys, if you've seen them spar, you guys seen it, they're a different level. So when I have a guy that's basic, and Jack, who's just boxing, right? He has really good hands, he has good power, but he breaks a lot of these guys down because he hasn't fought anybody like me.
Bryce Mitchell ignited a firestorm of criticism after a series of statements on his new Arc Insanity podcast. Various corners of the MMA community, including Dana White himself, frowned upon Mitchell's remarks. The timing couldn't be more charged, as Thug Nasty is set for a submission grappling match against undefeated Israeli fighter Ilay Barai at Karate Combat 53. Barai's response to Mitchell's talk was fierce. Weeks ago, he called Mitchell dumb and threatened to confront him in person if Mitchell truly believes what he's been broadcasting to the world. This layers an extra coat of tension onto an already unique matchup. Mitchell fights at 145 while Barai competes at 155, so they're meeting in the middle at 180 for the grappling showdown. What's fueling all this animosity? Mitchell's controversial viewpoints have rubbed many the wrong way, leading some fans to cheer for Barai to humble him on the mat. Others see Mitchell's brazen persona as a breath of fresh air, someone who refuses to bow to public opinion. Whichever side you're on, there's there's no denying this match has become personal. As controversies escalate, another champion has come forward to reflect on past words that shaped his legendary rivalry.
Was it just because you felt like your skills were strong enough to hang with him there?
For it shall come to pass that whosoever calls upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. And brother, I didn't have an option to take him down or not. We got so close, and then he pulls guard. I honestly didn't see myself going to the ground with him, but I had no option. And also too, Joe, after my last fight, you showed so much generosity towards me. I was knocked out, wobbling around, and you were the only person in the arena that cared about me getting the doctors, and I love you with all my heart for that.
Israel Adesanya once made a comment that Alex Pereira would grow old in some bar, telling anyone who'd listen about his kickboxing win over Izzy. That single statement might have planted the seed for Pereira's leap into the UFC. Little did Adesanya know that Pereira would chase him all the way to MMA's biggest stage, eventually toppling him in the octagon. Now, with Pereira settled into the light heavyweight division at 205 and Izzy back in the thick of the 185-pound race, that old interview clip resurfaces frequently. Some fans troll Adesanya, pointing out that his words came back to haunt him. Yet Izzy says he doesn't regret a thing. In his mind, the comment motivated Pereira to take massive risks and become the unstoppable force he is today. What's especially surprising is how their relationship has softened now that their direct rivalry has cooled off. They've been seen showing each other respect, almost like old rivals who've developed mutual admiration after surviving multiple showdowns. Whether it's genuine or just a public front, the tension between them has shifted from boiling rage to something more complex. For fans, it's a fascinating dynamic. Two men who locked horns in two different sports, only to find that rivalry can also breed respect. While this once fiery feud has settled into mutual acknowledgement, a new call-out has erupted that could pit another brash trash talker against a lethal striker.
Again, I don't regret it, no, because I was right. And also I don't because it motivated him. It's, again, I love this story, eh? It's just the best. Like, he's actually at a bar drinking and is like, Shama, boom, decides to become, you know, MMA fighter. Or well, he was already an MMA fighter, but decides to like take it seriously and get to the UFC and fight me, chase me. But again, like I said, he chased me. I didn't do that. But I don't regret it, no. I'm glad I did because it motivated him, and look what we've created.
Michael Venom Page is fresh off handing Cher a bullet his first UFC loss, and he's not planning to slow down. MVP wants at least 3 more fights before the year is out, and he's eyeing one of the most polarizing figures in MMA, Colby Covington. According to MVP, the buildup alone would be priceless. Covington's mouth meets MVP's flashy style, a recipe for all-time levels of trash talk. But beyond the words, MVP is convinced he can outstrike and outmaneuver Covington, who's known for relentless wrestling and unstoppable cardio. The real question, is Colby interested? For a while, rumors swirled that Covington might clash with Gilbert Burns, especially after Burns teased some leaked contact info. Then talk shifted to a potential showdown with Michael Chiesa, given that this upcoming season of The Ultimate Fighter might pair Daniel Cormier, coaching alongside Chael Sonnen, against Covington. Nothing is official though, and MVP's call-out injects a new possibility into the mix. Now, if that seismic showdown isn't enough, fans also have a brand new date and location to look forward to for yet another UFC pay-per-view.
I work hard to be here, man. I'm dynamic. I know it looks like it comes easy, but I'm busting my ass every single day in the gym just to put on a show for everybody here, and I hope I did that. I know it was short, but I hope I did that still.
You heard that right. UFC 316 is reportedly heading to the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey on June 7th. The leak came from a well-placed source, and though the UFC hasn't confirmed it publicly, fans are already buzzing about potential main events. Could we see a title fight, a huge welterweight clash, maybe a long-awaited grudge match? Newark has hosted some memorable fights in the past, and the tri-state area is hungry for more top-tier MMA. After all the commotion with UFC 314 and UFC 315, the stage is set for another major card that could feature some of the sport's biggest names. For now, it's all speculation, but don't be shocked if the UFC lines up a marquee headliner, perhaps an interim bell or a champion who wants a quick turnaround. New Jersey has always been a hub for fight fans, and the crowd energy in that venue is electric. While fans speculate on who might headline that big night in Newark, another star is fighting for a seat at the table, this time by challenging Islam Makhachev's camp head-on. Ilia Topuria's name has has surged into title conversations after his devastating performances at featherweight. He knocked out Josh Emmett and finished Max Holloway, two sensational statements that rattled the division. Yet Islam Makhachev's manager, Usman Magomedov, recently dismissed the idea of Ilia getting a title shot at 155, chalking it up to mere hype. Topuria's manager Malki Kawa wasted no time firing back on social media, pointing out that Ilia's victories speak for themselves. He also highlighted the fact that Makhachev had a tough fight against Alexander Volkanovski, whereas Ilia knocked out Volk cleanly the first chance he got. In Kawa's eyes, that alone justifies giving El Matador a crack at the lightweight strap. To complicate things, Makhachev's coach Javier Mendez insisted that Islam will never say no to a challenger offered by the UFC. That means if the promotion lines it up, Makhachev will lace the gloves, no questions asked. For now, it's a chess game between managers and coaches, with the UFC holding the power to make or break these super fights. Topuria is adamant he's done enough at 145 to warrant a move up, and if the fans want to see him test Makhachev's grappling, he's game. Whether or not we'll get that fight is anyone's guess. In the current MMA landscape, a single call-out can change the course of a division, so keep an eye on Topuria's social media. Any major announcement could come out of the blue.
You know, I don't really come on here that much anymore. I kind of like stay to myself, but when certain managers come out there and talk about a guy's too small, shouldn't move up, needs to fight someone else, let's make sure we just get the facts straight. He knocked out Volk in his first opportunity to knock him out. The fight wasn't close. When your client fought Volk, he struggled with him the first time.
And there you have it, a whirlwind of matchups, controversies, and jaw-dropping moments that show exactly how volatile the MMA scene can be. From Paddy Pimblett and Michael Chandler's playful yet intense war of words, to Daniel Cormier's viral single-leg takedown by a dwarf, and on to Patricio Pitbull's fiery entrance into the UFC, each storyline raises the stakes in an already stacked year of combat sports. We've also seen the unstoppable rumor mill churn out potential blockbusters, like MVP calling out Colby Covington and Ilia Topuria angling for a lightweight title shot. Bryce Mitchell's controversies underscore how easily an athlete can go from fan favorite to lightning rod for criticism, while Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira's evolving relationship reminds us that even the fiercest rivalries can morph into mutual respect. The UFC's future cards, from UFC 314 in Miami to a rumored UFC 316 in Newark, promise action that could redefine divisions and possibly crown new superstars. It's a lot to process, but that's the thrill of MMA. You never know who's gonna break out next or which champion will be dethroned by a hungry new contender. What do you think about the matchups, signings, and jaw-dropping stories dominating the headlines? Are we on the cusp of witnessing a new era, or will the old guard stand firm? Share your thoughts and predictions below. One thing is certain, the next time you blink, another controversy will explode, another newcomer will arrive, and another champion might fall. Stick around, because in this sport, the unexpected is the only thing you can count on. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep your guard up, your mind open, and your eyes on the prize. This is MMA, the land of relentless rivalries and unpredictable showdowns. Stay sharp, fight fans. The next shocker is always just one punch, tweet, or headline away.